Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on The Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to The Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault. One day, welcome, I will have money to make that shorter.
We'll get there.
And update it with the right logo.
And update it with new voice, with all of our voices or something. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. And I don't have the skills to pay the bills. I wonder if AI could do it.
Yes, that's how I did mine.
Stop.
Do it. Yeah, do it. I'll show you. I'll do it for you. I'll help you.
Show me how. No, you don't have, you got a lot. It's fine. Hey guys. Let's look at the comments. Hey everybody. Hey BTW. Hey Dr. Ogle.
We appreciate you, Dr. Ogle.
We do appreciate you.
Thank you for being a member.
Hey,
thank you, Dr. Ogle.
Oh, good. Michael Clanton is back. I remember you from the last conversation we had, and I was very interested.
Yes, this will be good. All right, let's set the stage. So we're gonna start with some fun cat butt stuff, and then we're gonna go through all the GLPT in the land. And I am gonna play Amanda's spot because I can't help not. But it's gonna be loud. And then I'll have to go in and fix it and all things. It's fine. I can't help. No, I need to play it. Yeah, I'll fix it. While you're doing butt stuff, I'll go get the proper one.
So, fun, right? We're going to change the format a little bit because let's look at our bums. Well, it's not really a butt stuff. It's just if you're new to movement, but I do have to include the bum because they say we lose our bum and
my bum is saggy. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
We'll do my.
And then we're gonna talk about gray market. All things gray market. Lots about gray market. And then I'm going to put our disclaimer up on all the things because this is educational. This is a focus on harm reduction.
Yep,
we're not recommend this, but we are here for you. And this is a place to learn and just not get hurt. Like, frankly, that's what we're going to do. Okay. I don't know why it says no.
I'm going to hit share screen.
Lots of friends are here. Oh my gosh. Hey, Mary.
I know. I'm going to share my screen. Y'all ready? We're going, and it's real quick. Well, maybe I should do my butt stuff intro.
Butt stuff intro. I like it. As a reminder, yes, vendor sharing is not allowed in the chat. Okay, thank you. Very good reminder.
We bees in the chat. We bees in the chat. I know it's flat, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
All right.
We'll do a recap. We'll do a recap. Fluffy fitness.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Movement. Going to show you some lower body that's really easy. First and foremost, you don't have to do a full squat. You need your chair to help you out. That's what you do. Push from your heel. That's what I'm pointing at. Sit down fully back in your chair. You can do this all day long to get your legs used to it. Now, I don't know if you see it, but ever so slightly, I'm hovering a little bit above the cushion. That's what you can build yourself up to. I'm going to show you how to, that's the full squat. I'd say the only really difficult thing is about getting up and down off the floor. If you can do that, glute bridges are really a great choice. Just squeeze your bum as you push up. And if you want a little extra challenge, hold your leg up. It will really, really, you'll feel that in your bum because we do the butt stuff. So coming up, single leg deadlift. You're going to really feel this in your whole cheeky and keep your back straight. You can use, see this? I put my fingers on the chair because I am forever losing my balance on that single leg deadlift. And then my favorite, you can't go wrong with a lunge. If you are at the ability to do these, do them. They are great for the butt cheeks. Let's do this. Oh,
that was it. Oh,
oh my God. Where you go, cheeky. I live for that stuff. I'm telling you.
cheekies.
Cheekies.
See,
That should be your new way.
There were no weights. It was just body weight,
Yeah.
Work yourself up to it,
Yeah. Too much fun, Kat. All right. I got the panel.
That was it.
Without music.
How do you guys like? You have out what?
I got the panel without music.
Ruh-roh.
No, I got it. I needed it without music.
Okay, good.
Yes, but because last time we got dinged for it and I had to take it out. So, but it was so loud.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, I like the bleeding. What do you guys think? Was it fun leading with the butt stuff? That's some good stuff right there. You're doing a great job on the talk. Good. Thank you, Michael. We're trying.
That is great.
Yeah. Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. I appreciate it.
I love it. I think that we should do a high tea because Kat's got a high tea. And then I think we should do more tea with GLP-1 Collective. And we'll talk about, there has been a lot since we saw each other a couple weeks ago. So a lot has happened. I guess it was several weeks ago, wasn't it? Because I had that funk. Y'all remember propping me up and
it's been like a month.
Yeah. No, you didn't miss it, Parahead. We're glad to have you here. You forgot the time zones. Oh, I'm so glad you came.
Yeah. Kim's son got her sick. Gave her the bug.
Yes.
Kids are every little things.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're off our game a little, just know it's because we're game a little. Cool. All right. So what we're gonna do is talk about GLP stuff in the news because there's so much stuff. Let me go and play a GLP-1 hot tea. All right, you go first, Kat.
Okay. So I made this into a story for this. I don't have any screenshots or whatnot because it's from a publication that you need a subscription to. My husband works in the food business, so that's all I'll say. So when he does find really great articles, which this one was, he brings them home for me and I turn them into news. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, honey.
Okay. So a new article was just published in the Milling and Baking News. That is what the publication is called, Milling and Baking News. Big Food will be utilizing similar ingredients when formulating products geared to GLP-1 users. The food industries have been watching these consumers look for and purchase more nutrient-dense and more satiating foods. These manufacturers will be incorporating ingredients they claim will support the body's natural production of GLP-1 hormones. The industry sees the population of these users to increase each year. They did drop a lot of great numbers here. There's one that stood out to me. According to KKF, a source for health policy research and public awareness, according to KKF, the study agency, a source for health policy research, the public awareness was at 32% of GLP-1s polled in 2024. Versus in 2023, the studies polled and they found only 19% of people polled were aware of GLP-1s back in 2023.
Okay, that tracks.
Right? Morgan Stanley forecasts these drugs to rake in $77 billion by 2030.
At current prices, no doubt.
Right. So the food manufacturing is taking heed and is or plans to incorporate protein and fiber-rich ingredients. Why? Well, consumers are going to be consuming less food as time goes on, and the grain-based foods industry needs to make that shift or lose market share in the long run.
Yeah.
The grain-based foods industries are making the switch to nutrient density and also the great taste along with that to stay relevant. So what they're forecasting is we're going to see more fiber to help with digestive issues in particular. So they are paying attention to us having those movement problems, as well as the protein. So with this increase of probiotic and prebiotic supplements that we're taking, fiber, constipation aids, they are introducing other fibrous products into baked goods. So they did mention this this product. It's not familiar to me, called Fibersol. That's used in baked goods. Chicory root fiber, barley, going to make a lot of appearances. I also read oligosaccharides, prebiotic fibers. So yeah, that's what it is. I am struggling. Oligosaccharides, prebiotic fibers. That's what they are. They say they have a significant impact on more GLP-1 secretion. I'll believe that when I see it. These are all extra fibrous ingredients that will be added to foods as the years, the months, the days move on. So we're going to see more fiber. We're going to see fiber increase in our foods. Also, I know. What'd you say?
I was just thinking, like, do you guys know that movie Matilda? And you know when like she goes to her dad? No, like she goes to her dad and she goes, "Can't you just make good cars, Dad? Don't people need good cars?" That's what I feel about these fucking scientists. Sorry, Dad, but like I can't even like make good food. Stop poisoning us and adding more crap in to fix all the broke stuff we already did.
Barley, chicken, that's natural. Also, I need to add to GLP-1 users represent $190 billion in the food and beverage market. So,
wow, that's interesting.
We need money.
Is that GLP-1 users now or potential GLP-1 users? Users now.
That's a good question. No, it's now. Represent
potential is insane.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we represent $190 million. That's why there's an article that
US. Sorry, I'm getting really
US.
Question. Do you think it's
I think it's good because we have problems pooping. So there was a point like when I was
keep hacking our food. Like stop. Like we don't need your shit. Actually, like just eat regular food.
That's a very good choice of words, Kim. We don't need your shit.
I'm not gonna lie. When I heard that the Big Food was trying to make food catering to people on GLP-1s, I was like, oh great. They want us to be re-addicted, and I'm sure that they're doing that too.
Me too.
They're not coming out and writing articles about it, but I guarantee you they are. But I was telling Kat, as much as I know that I should just be eating chicken and brown rice, the amount of time that I have to make and then eat that is, I would be withered away to the size of a twig and a sack of skin if I did not have protein shakes and protein bars, and more fiber and protein sound good to me. I mean, I can't, we live in an age of convenience, and I'm sorry, but I'm having a really hard time transitioning to whole foods when I can just pop open a protein shake. And when Fairlife shakes are as blown up as they are, and they're like $5 a shake, you know that the $1 billion we're talking about is right now, because people are spending a ton of money on protein.
Yes. Have to.
You know how much like Devotion and Seek and Ghost I have in my house right now?
Yeah.
Like 3 tubs each of each brand.
And it is because you do digital marketing and hawk it on the internet.
Yeah, right. Oh, I go through about 2 or 3 glasses of Seek a day because it feels like I'm having a Crystal Light, but there's protein in it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to try that. But every time I go to buy it, it's like $40 and I'm like,
no, you got to buy it.
Yeah. I don't make the good money I used to now that I quit TikTok shop.
No, ma'am. But I feel like, I mean, with chicory root might be something.
I'm with Amanda though. Like, I feel like one, they wouldn't have to do it if they hadn't already fucked us over with all, sorry, Dad, like with what they've done before. And two, I need all of those things, but I don't trust them. I don't trust them, any of the stuff they put in our food.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, now, you guys notice that, like, when you're hungry, right? Or when you're back when you had food noise really bad, do you feel like is it just me? I will still have things that are not good. The other day I had Guthrie's for dinner, but I had half of it. I had half of it, and even when I ate it, I was kind of like, and then when I go and I have something that I used to just like obsess over and like gorge on, when I go and have that, I'm like, that doesn't taste very good. And I don't eat it. Like, there's something going on with the food. Like, there's something in there, and we have an episode coming, and it is a big one.
Yeah.
And it is someone that used to work for the FDA, and you want to watch that. So
follow
and
I'm reading, I'm reading a book related to that. And
like a comment, please.
Yeah, please do. Kim and I are both. I'm listening to the book about it, but I am too. Calorie dense foods, and the more that you're exposed to it, your body just starts to crave it. It's like, who doesn't crave a bag of chips at 3 p.m. every day?
Do you every day?
Almost every day. I crave a bag of chips and a Coke Zero.
Really? That's like your thing. That's a habit thing.
Pretzels. Pretzels is my jam.
Coffee.
Yeah.
No, coffee's in the morning. I can't have it the rest of the day, but
I drink it all day.
I drink it all day.
Terrible.
That's what happens when you're with the
caffeine fix. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, hold on. I got to pin some comments. Oh, we have to read that one. All right, let's see. Oh, all right, it's that one too. Oh, good question. I believe. Oh, don't make me pronounce things, Michael.
Lyophilized?
Yeah, is the key to affordable GLPs much more. Really, education is key. Really, is that the word you couldn't pronounce, Kat?
No, girl, what is that? What
is
that one is called fructo oligosaccharides. And I practiced before we got on it, and it just went pew. Fructo oligosaccharides. They're prebiotic fibers.
Michael, you got to tell us more about that. Put more stuff in there. We like to learn. Yay! Everybody comment. We need you're here. Like it. We're going to talk about all the good things. Okay. Next, we're going to do the panel without the screaming noise.
BTW.
It needs music.
We do. Music. I'm sorry, BTW. BTW just commented freeze-dried pucks.
What's freeze-dried pucks?
Were you talking about the fructo oligosaccharides?
Oh, she's talking in my language. Okay, now I understand. That's what that is. Oh.
Are they serious? Are you serious? I thought you were being silly, because that's why
No, that's what they're called, pucks. And I'll get into it when we get into gray market stuff.
Oh, oh, wait a minute. I was talking about the fiber.
Oh, I wasn't. See, we sound like dum-dums.
I thought we were talking about fiber too.
Well, when you get a research grade peptide, or you get a peptide that's not constituted yet, it's a little puck. Right? That's what they call them, pucks.
I thought you were making a joke about the fructo.
No.
I get it though, because
pucks. That's what she was talking about. Maybe Michael's not talking about that, and he will correct us, because we like to learn here. It's okay to not know all things, because I don't know squat. Okay.
We like to learn here.
So Amanda, we're so glad to have you here in collaboration.
So excited.
I'm so happy. I haven't seen you forever. This is so much. I'm so glad you're here.
It's been a long time.
Tell us.
I am also super happy to be here.
Everything.
I have one super interesting news tidbit. That is it. And then it's all advocacy updates.
All right. I love it. Let's do it.
We have to catch up.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not sure if you heard, but the state of Florida has put in a request to the FDA to allow them to import medications, including GLP-1s for weight loss, from Canada, so that they can get them for a cheaper price for Medicaid and Medicare. How interesting is that? What? Isn't that interesting?
I'm intrigued.
Okay, but it's
It's
just the state of Florida, and they're the only ones who have done it so far, but they do have permission from the FDA to do this. Now, we don't know if Canada is going to be willing to sell us their product because they're also concerned, not just because of the political climate, but they're also concerned about their own stock.
Right.
And they don't want to run out of stock for their own people, right? So right now we're working on, they're working on finding out if Canada will let them buy from them. But the crazy thing is that we get it from the same place Canada does, from the manufacturers. Same place, same medication, nothing different except for the pricing. And we're literally trying to get this medication secondhand because it's too expensive.
Literally,
just
because
for us.
Bullshittery here.
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy.
Background history on that, Amanda. I don't know if you know, but back in the day, OG coupon day, we were getting our medicine from Canada. And then Eli Lilly went in there and said, don't do that anymore. And they said they were in a shortage and they quit selling it to us.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's what we ended up
in 23. That's when,
20. I feel like such a grandma. Back in 2023.
Right. It does feel like that.
And then there was a new segment. I've got TikToks about it where I was like, what the fuck, guys? Like, what? Like, they stopped because like they were conserving it for themselves, but really, like, I mean, it was a sweet.
Wow.
Yeah. And also a lot of compound pharmacies are in Florida. So you can't help but wonder, like, what's the rub there? Like, what's the people usually have to connect with the heart, you know?
Apparently it's state only. So it is literally only for state programs, Medicaid and Medicare. That is it. So you can't go to Florida if you live in Missouri and get medication.
So you have to be a Floridian?
You have to be a Floridian and you have to be on their state-funded programs. But if Florida can do this, it paves the way for other states to be like, oh, they're doing it. Yeah, we will too. But they have to make that effort. And then if more states are able to get in on this, then it will start changing healthcare potentially.
Yeah.
Right? Like private insurance companies. So yeah, we've got our eye on that. That's an interesting development. We're curious to see where that goes.
You know what I was thinking? Because clearly I need to sleep. You know that movie Shawshank Redemption?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. It's one of my favorites. So in Shawshank, like, do you know that part when Morgan Freeman's talking about like what a man needs to be at his limit, and he says pressure and time, and the rock like crumbles? I feel like this is such a good example of that, right? Because like ultimately, that's what this is. It's so we're in this giant pressure cooker where we are fed up. Sorry, Dad. You know, and it's like, and now we've got time, and now we're doing all of these things. And I love that it's in the news. Like it's not something we're like hiding around or like word on the street. Like they're like, this is what we're doing because of how this is straight trash. You know what I mean?
I mean, like I said, like big food is getting ready for it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not going away.
Yeah.
42% of the nation has obesity.
Exactly.
It's the most common chronic disease in our entire country. And if you don't have obesity yourself, you know someone that does. You likely love someone that does.
Yes.
And it's affecting so many people. It's impossible to be ignored. And you're right. We just need to keep applying pressure. And that leads into my next bit of tea.
Yes.
So, we're organizing a national Contact Your Congressman Day.
Wow.
So we're going to be calling our congressmen. We're going to be emailing our congressmen, and I'm going to provide templates so that if people don't want to make their own email templates, then we'll pass them around. We're going to be sharing them.
Yes.
I will personally help people figure out how to find out who their local representative is, who to contact, what their information is, if they need help. But I'll be providing a link as well so that people can, if they would rather go on and do it themselves, they can go to the link and figure out who it is, find their phone number and email off of that. I want to help people as much as possible do this, because if the GLP-1 Collective nonprofit is able to organize, then Congress will see the nonprofit organizing people and will take that seriously, which is why I incorporated a nonprofit in the first place. Someone once said to me during an interview, why did you go with a nonprofit if you're not really allowed to lobby? Because we're not. 3% of a 501c3 can be lobbying. That is it. But there's a very fine line between lobbying and advocating. And it's not lobbying if you don't ask for them to pass a specific bill or tell people how to vote.
Okay.
We're just saying, freaking help us. It's literally going to take an act of Congress for PBMs to be reformed, for health insurance to be reformed. And so do something about it.
Yes.
Half of the country literally needs your help. Do something about it. And it looks like Florida is starting to.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
Imagine how much power is behind all of the voices of however many people we can gather to, in 24 hours, contact their local representatives.
I love that. And I mean, Kat's already told us some numbers that are associated with us. So it's like, I mean, ultimately, like everybody will just be better if we could just not be sick and dying. Like, can we just fix that?
It's not going anywhere.
Just make good cars, Dad. Yeah.
Listen, this is happening. Make peace with it.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. So when you get that, we're going to put it in the notes.
Yes.
We're going to put this on the audio for the podcast audio. There we go. All right. I love it. So it'll be in the show notes.
So we've just published an article on LinkedIn. We do all of our news articles on LinkedIn. It's called One Woman's Fight for Dignity, Equality, and GLP-1 Access for All. So one of our community members, Christy Turner, fantastic, fabulous, amazing person. She was cut off by her insurance. Her insurance company changed PBMs, and they are essentially making her do adult fat camp, in her words, if she wants to maybe get access to the medication that has worked for her for the last several months that helped her lose 116 pounds. And that's with no guarantee. And they want her to do an insane amount of steps. It's called the Pathways Program. She needs to see a therapist, even though she has a personal therapist she's been working with for 5 years. See her obesity specialist. They want her to go to a regular PCP through them, who's not a specialist. They want her to do physical therapy. And I have this recording of her in the article where she says, I don't get physical therapy because I didn't break a leg. I'm just fat. She's hilarious. She's really funny.
Seriously,
but she's the reason why we're writing Congress, because she's fighting back. And she's trying to make her voice be heard. And there's a lot of people who are going through exactly the same thing. In 2025, a lot of insurance companies took weight loss medications off of their formularies or increased restrictions. And so a lot of people in the GLP-1 community are feeling that, including some people like Stevie. I don't know Stevie's last name, but you guys, someone knows her.
What about
Stevie has type 2 diabetes, and she changed employers. Her new employer will not cover her medication, even though it's been working to help her manage PCOS and type 2 diabetes for the last 2 years. And she's doing all these prior auths.
Mounjaro at all? Like there's no GLP-1s at all? Nothing?
They want her to try Trulicity, but she's made her way to Mounjaro and is not willing to go back now that she's found something that actually for the first time worked, right? And that's how all of us feel.
Is she going to have to I wonder if they're going to make her do step therapy all over again?
Oh no, probably. They won't even, they're denying
completely
all of her prior auths. They're denying all of them. And they're refusing to let her do peer-to-peer, which I didn't even know what that was until I saw her video.
Let her do peer-to-peer.
They won't even let her do peer-to-peer.
There's something in her insurance that they say no, we don't do that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. But she changed employers. And so that happened to her. And then a third example of how fragile the insurance system is, another community member, Amanda Furtalio, she was a podcast guest for us. And in her episode, she said, my insurance company cut me off in January. They said they were no longer going to cover this medication. It took her a year to get access. because her doctor didn't want to prescribe it. Her endocrinologist didn't want to prescribe it. She went to a fertility doctor because she's trying to get pregnant, and they were like, you need a GLP-1.
Of course it is.
She had to go back to her doctor and her endocrinologist, who both denied to give her coverage. And then her fertility doctor said, go see this obesity specialist. Now, by now, she's been through several appointments and spent money on all of those appointments and has been given the runaround and is jumping through hoops. She finally gets some medication, and then it's in shortage for like 6 months.
Oh my
This
God.
poor woman. So she finally gets her medication. She is on it. It is working. And at one point, she actually did get pregnant. And then she gets a letter that her insurance company was no longer covering it in January. Now, her story is absolutely devastating. And we have interviewed her since then. And she was in tears because she did not, after all of the trouble that she went through, and of course she had to do prior auths for this too.
Of course.
She did not even get this medication for a year, and she did not get another baby.
Oh.
Yeah. So her story is absolutely devastating. And it's just 3 different examples of how fragile the health insurance system is. And I keep seeing these headlines that say, oh, there's more coverage for GLP-1s than most people realize. No, my friend, GLP-1 coverage does not equal access, not when there's a ton of red tape and hurdles that people have to jump through that usually don't end with access at all, but make people pay out of pocket for all of these different fancy steps that they have to go through. So we're fighting back with Christy Turner, and we're organizing a National Contact Your Congressman Day.
I love it. Fantastic. I love that. Yeah, we're all going to do it. However we can help, like,
Well,
do we need to like write them? Do Kat and I need to go there? Like, what do we need to do? Seriously, do we need to film it and put it on things?
Well, I am going to make a video calling mine on the speakerphone. Okay. I've called them more than once.
Okay.
Looking forward to calling them again. And I'm going to share, like I said, the email templates. But I think the biggest thing is visibility. If people don't know about it, then they're not going to do it. So the really important thing is to get the word out so that we can all work.
We will make content on
to make Congress make change, because they have to do it at this point. If the FDA is not going to allow compounding for the sake of affordability, like they have with other medications in the past, then we need Congress to work on health insurance coverage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Dr. Ogle said she would write a letter. Like,
yay!
A letter.
Dr. Ogle. She's my hero.
Film it and film yourself doing it and do it, all the things. Like, we need to get it out there. Like, the one thing I will say that we've seen from this, and we all know it's still not affordable, right? But ultimately, when Kat and I started this, Wegovy was $1,400 a month. And now 3 years later, it's $500 a month. It's still ridiculous. And if it dropped that much that fast, then for sure they were screwing us up the tailpipe. Okay. So, but that being said, clearly the pressure and the time and the demand that we are doing is working, and we just can't let up. We can't let up. And the videos, they work. The podcasts, they work. The voices, they work. It takes time, but we've come a really long way in 3 years.
Yeah.
Let's keep going,
Yeah, thank you both. Because you were 2 of the original voices and helped us get here. And without your help, we'd be starting over. Imagine without all the stuff you guys have done, where we'd be right now.
Triple R got it. That's a good idea.
On YouTube channels. I have. Thank you for. That's a great idea. RR. I will tell you, I have.
Dave,
like, we have Downsize that have come on. Dave on the Pen, we're good friends with. We had Misty. Is it Misty or Missy? She was on. There are several people that are YouTubers that share their journey. I would love for them to come on that have big platforms. I'm up for it. Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I know there's like conferences and stuff where you can go, like, as a YouTuber. We should do that. If I had money, I would do that. We need sponsors.
We'll get there. We're going to get there.
We'll get there.
With your support, everybody, you guys are really helping us. We do.
None of us are rich. I know that it seems like it. We're not. That's why we're always hawking crap on TikTok Shop. Okay.
We do it for the love. We do it for the love, right?
We do. We do it because it's impossible. It's like, I don't know if you guys feel like that. I think you do, but like, it's almost impossible not to. Like, when I wake up, and I think that when you are on the medicine, whether you're getting it from compound or you're getting brand, even when you're on compound, it's still a place of privilege. right? Like it is, like being able to access it at all, affordable at all, safe at all is privilege. And so when you can't, then I think it's important because it's like, I remember being like, I don't understand why people are going gray market. Why would people be mixing in their kitchen? Why? They can get compound affordable and all this different stuff. But
Sometimes
ultimately,
it's really could be too
for
much.
most people,
Right.
they can't afford $300 for compound. But most
Mhm.
people can't, you know? And I think that's the difference, right? And I know I've said it on TikTok before, but there was just a huge aha moment for me when they were actually going to have compound not go away, but at least not be available to the extent that it's been before. And I just made a video about it where I was like, you know what? I don't blame them. And then all the people from Gray Market were in those comments and in my DMs and being like, thank you for understanding and saying that. I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner, but I didn't. All I could think is, what are you doing? What are you doing? I know what they're doing, and I know why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Do you have more advocacy before I run off of the mouth? You know how good.
I was just going to say that we've just launched our first local chapter. It's the Iowa Collective. So we're actually doing local meet and greets now and trying to build this one up as kind of like a test run so that we can start building other local chapters. So it's really exciting. And I'm in the process of coordinating with local businesses and local nonprofits so that we can make our home base strong.
That would be
fantastic.
Exciting. It's so exciting.
So if anyone's in Iowa, hit me up.
I love it. Yay.
But that's it for me.
So good. All good news. Oh, wait, you have to tell us about the event in October.
DC trip.
Yes.
We should probably keep bringing it up until it gets to be that time, right?
Because it'll be like a flux. I saw my calendar, but it'll be like a flux of people that will kind of come in at the end. Oh, I can make that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So DC trip in October. I have to double check on the dates because I can't remember right now, but I think it's the last week. Off the top of my head. So DC trip, we're going to be flying down there, meeting people at a hotel. We're going to be making signs that say things like GLP-1s gave me life with a picture of a baby, like for someone who was able to finally give birth for the first time. I think that's super powerful. Or GLP-1s could have saved my dad, like pictures of loved ones. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm feeling very emotionally fragile today. Yes. I like that.
The 26th of October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. And we're going to be at the Washington Monument. So we're at a hotel where we can walk down the street to get there. And then it's a 2-day long event of going out there and protesting with our signs and handing out pamphlets for informational purposes and live streaming the entire thing. So if you can't join us in person, you can definitely support us on the sidelines.
Yes.
I love it.
And Kim and I are discussing the t-shirts that make GLP-1s affordable.
Affordable.
Stay tuned.
Yes. And we need GLP-1 Collective logos on them and all the things. We could put them next to each other. We could do them separate. I don't care. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
If you all know a graphic designer, just let us know. Hit me in my DMs.
Listen, I don't know. We have AI now. Maybe we don't need graphic
designers.
Do love AI. I'm not going to lie. As a one-woman team, I would die without it.
Dr. Ogle said she's going to try to be there.
Yeah. And I just talked to Jen, the one and only Jen, and Kelly, and both of them said that they were looking at going too. So the group is growing. Very exciting. Kelly's Wells Journey.
Oh, she has a couple different screen names. I never know we all change our names all the time.
We do.
She have short pink hair? No? Okay, did it for one. Okay. But that's great. And then I think that we've got some doctors up in that area too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, DC. Yeah, for sure.
And
but if you guys want,
Cook will probably come. The chef.
I know. That's what I was thinking too.
Yes.
That would be phenomenal. But if you guys want to join or you want to stay up to date on the Contact Your Congressman Day or the DC trip or anything else that we're doing, then please join our Discord. Our Discord is where it's just the easiest for me to keep updating. It's just the easiest.
I'm
join Discord.
in like a Discord for everything. It's like how there's an app for everything. There's a Discord for everything. And I never go in there. That's the problem.
It's just the easiest. I mean, you could, it's just the
Yeah,
easiest.
Discord's, I don't know.
And it's
Discord,
free.
Yeah. And so we put the link to your website in the show notes. Will people be able to find all of those things?
Yes. So there's actually a little bubble that is floating on the website. So if you go to any page on the website, there's a little bubble that'll take you right to Discord. And there's a program section so that you can see all of our programs and events.
Okay.
And that is where everything that we're doing is.
Can people RSVP to the thing in October?
Yes, they can on the website under programs and the DC trip.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Any other plugs we need to get in?
Nope, that's perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Let's talk all things gray market. So if you haven't seen the first live where we talk about it, go watch that. I do need to put on our banner. Hold on.
yes.
But I don't have the hubs here. Oh no. There
I
is.
know, like Bear's missing.
Oh no. Is this it?
There it is.
Yep, there it is. Okay. So let me say the disclaimer. So this live is for educational purposes only. We do not recommend that you go get medicine without the care of a doctor. Okay. But we are focusing on harm reduction. And that's why we're here to give this information. And we'll go through why that is and why a lot of people that are trying to find out more about gray market and GLP-1s are flooding TikTok and IG and FB and all of that. Like what is going on around there? Why a lot of creators will not share names or give advice or direction or anything like that, and kind of what it is, so that it would be more, instead of me just like running my mouth, like informational and collaborative. I'm going to have Kat sort of ask questions and then we'll talk. Amanda has a lot of insight on this, I think, too, with her work from an advocacy perspective. So I'll share one of the interviews that I did. We are going to have on Dr. Mo that is going to talk to us about this in more detail and some things that she's seen. And I think it's important just to have as much information as possible. This particular person that I interviewed did say it is a last resort. It is a last resort. And there's a reason that even people that take it understand that it is a last resort. Okay. So just please understand that. Okay. Like that is their words, not mine. I am saying don't do it at all. So I don't get to. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Kat. Q.
So why is gray market so prominent like right now? Can you recap everything for us?
Yeah. Okay.
What we talked about last time.
Yeah. So recap time. So last time we talked about what kind of gray market is and what I've been able, and I have friends that are gray market community members that are here and that can keep me honest, because this is not something I know a lot about, right? Like I'm just learning. So there really are two different ways. There's gray market in terms of like domestic, that's here. And then there's gray market that's overseas. So gray market overseas is what people consider the real gray market. Gray market here are research grade peptides that people usually get through peptide companies, and they're marked for not human consumption. Usually people that do them here, they're getting like a vial at a time, right? Like for like, you know, a month at a time, or maybe it's a week at a time, but it's a vial at a time. So you can guys keep me honest on that one. And then when people are getting them overseas, for the most part, they're doing bulk ordering. And a lot of people will do this in groups, like buying groups. So I met someone in our community and was able to interview them to kind of understand a little bit more about how people come to this decision, why they make this decision, and then kind of what's going on. I want to make sure I'm very clear about like red flags and risk, because you deserve to know that. And our podcast is about making sure you have all the education that you need to be able to advocate for your health or be able to make any decision that you need to make for your health, right? Yep. Whether that's mental, physical, mind, body, spirit, all the things. Okay. So I've read the disclaimer. I'm going through my notes. Keep in mind, I'm not a doctor, nor am I an attorney. I know I interview them sometimes, but it's not like by proxy. Okay. a girl that has a podcast that interviews people. So just keep in mind that. So I don't know what's legal and what's not illegal or anything like that. And I'm not attesting to any of that. Okay. So always consult a licensed healthcare provider, okay, and experts before you make any decision. And again, this episode is to understand the gray market, its risk, and the reality of what's actually happening behind the scenes. So that is what our first episode was last week, was just sort of breaking down those different things. And when you order the medicine, what it's coming, how it's coming to you, people reconstitute it. So we talked about that on the last episode. And what that means is it comes, I think freeze dried is the right terminology. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of times in the community, they call them pucks. They're little hard things. And you add in BAC water, and then that turns it into something that people will take. Okay. And that is gray market. And it's like you're compounding it, in a way, but you're doing it at home. And there are risks associated with that. And we're going to talk about those too. Okay. So, Kat.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's making it so popular? Like, it's definitely, we're hearing about it a lot more. Yes. And of course it's booming on social media. So can you cover that for us too? Yeah, for sure. So I think, and I'm sure Amanda has, and feel free to jump in anytime, Amanda. So I think that what we're seeing is that even though, so two probably things, right? Even though compound is changing, and I do think this is going to shut a lot of people down. I think we've seen increased scrutiny for compound pharmacies. Empower is a good example. One of the biggest compound pharmacies there is. And all of a sudden they have 10 years of problems. Where have you been? You know what I mean? Like, why all of a sudden? Why now? That's one thing. So I think it's pressure, just like we talked about, right? And I think that we've also seen telehealth get sued for lots of different reasons, from Eli Lilly, and now we're seeing it from Novo Nordisk, right? We're seeing that legal pressure because these, companies do have a tremendous amount of money in legal teams that they can go for as long as they need to go. And there are people that say they'll stand up for them. And I'm thankful for that, the ones that are. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think everybody has a breaking point and they know what it is. They know what it is, Yeah. And that's going to be just infinite, I think, resources is just something to think about, And then I think on top of that, there are people that could never afford compound anyway. Like that's, I would say that's probably most people, right? Like most people cannot pay $300 a month for medicine, And it's just, that's what I think a lot of people get. And it's sometimes on TikTok and stuff, I think people, they feel sort of maybe threatened in a way. Some people, I'm just saying, like if they're like a telehealth rep or something, like those people were never your buyers, right? Like you're not losing people like that are paying for compound to gray market. It's not like that. Like those people were never your buyers, right? But the thing is that it is, I'm not going to lie. And I will tell you, this is like verbatim quote, it is sketchy. So we have to talk about what's going on there. And we'll do more so as Kat asked me more questions so I don't get off track.
Okay. And I will interject here and just say I've interviewed several people myself for our podcast, but also we have been talking with media. And I want to say people from the gray community don't want their information in the media. Obvious reasons. They don't want to lose access.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to lose access from any way, any medication. I don't want them to lose access. That's not my goal. My goal is to get access for everyone, right? And when I'm talking with Reuters and Wired and helping them connect with community members, the main focus for that is not exposing vendors, just like how you're talking about it right now. It's not exposing vendors. It's not exposing the specific pathways which people are using to get these medications. It's talking about the human impact, and it's the opportunity to shape the narrative because they are talking about it. It is in the news and they are interviewing other people. So this is the opportunity that we have to say why it's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why people are so desperate.
Yeah.
What lengths they're willing to go to.
Yes, for sure. I think that's very true. And I think that
I did see like one time on the Oprah show or one of the Oprah shows that was about GLP-1s. There was a girl that's like, I think she's sort of like a plus size, and she's not, she is plus size, but I don't know if I can't remember what she does, but she's an influencer, pretty big following on IG. And she really had a hard time with the Weight Watchers things like I did, but handled it better than me. And she went on the show and someone said, why are you even here? Like, if you don't like Weight Watchers, you're against all these things. She said, because you're having a conversation that has to do with me. And if I'm not in the room, then like what? Right? Like sometimes you have to be in the room, and not sometimes, all the time. You got to be in the room. Like, and that's, I mean, I think that just even in general, like we talk a lot on digital, right? With videos and stuff. But like when we showed up to that Senate hearing, that's when things started to really get in motion, because people, it's really hard to ignore you when you're in person, right? Like it's really hard to ignore you when you're in the room. And that's part of talking with media, good, bad, or ugly, is about getting in the room and staying in the room and having a say, because people are going to make decisions about your access, right? Period. And so you might as well at least be a part of the discussion, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was a really good point that she made. That being said, she
Example.
also did start a podcast, and then Weight Watchers became a sponsor, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
Very
Girl, we all got
interesting.
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. All right, gray market. So when people get their medications, I'm going to move right on over it.
Okay.
What does that process look like? And what do they receive? Walk us through that.
Yeah. So when people are, I will tell you, I've seen a few different things that are kind of scary on TikTok. I've seen some people look like open, like do unboxing, and it literally looks like they're opening a bomb party, which is, bomb party is like, I don't know if you guys know this. I used to sell it. It's like an MLM. It's really super fun.
Yeah.
But the rings that are in these little like,
They're really cute.
you know, these little like bath bombs, and you put them in the water.
Like
It's
bombs,
literally like playing the slots with jewelry. It's fantastic. But regardless, it looks like that. Like you go and open it. It's like a little bubble wrapper. It's in a box. There's stuff with it. And then you open it up and there's a vial. And then I've seen other people open it up where it looks like just like they got it from a 503A or 503B compound pharmacy. And then with the person that I interviewed, who I'm going to call Sherry, she specifically showed me a box, and I won't say what's on it. And the reason I won't is because I promised, but also because a lot of these things get flagged in customs, right? But ultimately, when they're getting it through customs, which is what's happening, friends, like it is coming in boxes that look like it has nothing to do with medicine at all. As a matter of fact, it shows ingredients and is branded to look like something completely different. And then that's how they're trying to get it through customs. But things get lost in customs. That's a red flag. Things get caught up in customs all the time, right? And it's just something to think about. But that is when people buy what's called a kit, right? So a kit is like, it's like a box like this. It has a bunch of vials in it, right? And so people are able to, I want to make this really clear, like people are able to not spend $500 a month on compound. People are able to spend $500 and get a year's worth of Tirs or Sema or whatever they want. $500 a year. Like
not gonna lie, I would be if I were faced with. I mean,
be careful. I would consider it as an option to educate myself, because suing.
So we're not judging you at all. Like
no. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Oh yeah, we're here. Hey. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
it's a delicate tap dance that we're doing. So
it is. Yeah, we have to be very careful with our words, friends. Like understand that, because we are Plus Sides' a media company, right? But so we're doing, if you would say like investigative journalism, like education, but we cannot be seen as saying that you should do this ever.
We do not endorse or recommend the use of research-grade pesticides.
Doesn't mean we don't love you. Doesn't mean you're not welcome here.
Medical professional before beginning treatment.
Yep. There we go. All right. So that is sometimes what they're getting. So when it comes to like the packaging, like it is mislabeled. And I think that just some kind of sail through and then other ones don't. But even then, I know there are people and they'll have tracking and they'll not be ordering as part of a group and they'll see that it just gets stuck there and then they don't get it. Right. So all of that is just like a continued exposure. And I think the demand is higher than ever for those reasons we talk about. The one thing I'll say is like the person I interviewed, again, Sherry, I'm calling Sherry, staying anonymous, said that like a lot of times people are, people are upset because there's a lot of
influencers, if you will, or content creators, however you want to look at it. And when you're like an affiliate, like a marketing affiliate, kind of marketing affiliates, you point to a link. This is what I do. Here's where you can get it. This is what I do. This is where you can get it. But that's because it's on the up and up, right? Ultimately, the reason people can't do that is because it's not. Okay. And any decision that you make when it comes to this, you've got to come to on your own. You have to. And there are lots of people that are new to this, and now they're kind of coming out, and like some of them are creating courses, some of them are selling vendors lists, some of them are creating courses just to teach you how to research, right? Some of the people are creating things. Yeah. I mean, like it's, and some people are charging, some people are not. Like some people are exposing vendor names, and then they get shut down because they're a part of groups, right? We talk about that in the last one. People have groups and apps and all these different things. I interviewed somebody that actually was able to show me like a group where people report when they're having problems with the vendor. So you can see and be like, all right, and here was the problem, and here's where it stands as you're trying to research and find one that's like right for you. There are a lot of them, but keep in mind, with this demand, pressure and time, remember, with this demand, there's scams already, and there are more scams popping up. And this is from, again, these are the mouths of people that are in this world. They're popping up all the time and looking to take advantage of you. If it looks easy, it's probably not. Yeah. And like, so Sherry specifically explained to me that like, if somebody, like red flag, like if somebody's sending you a DM and saying, come buy peptides, like that's sketch, because the ones that are more established and credible, they don't need to do that. Right. If somebody is in your comments doing that, it's sketch. Okay. If somebody's making it look like it's just like this super easy thing, it's sketch, because a lot of people in gray market feel, especially the ones that have been doing it for a while, that you need to kind of almost like earn the knowledge. Does that make sense? And I think that's fair, because nobody wants to point you in a direction of something that's going to harm you, right? Or someone that's going to scam you. And ultimately that does happen all the time. It happens a lot. And so that's why it is. But there's like this whole thing. And now there's people coming forward and being like, oh, I'm not going to gatekeep, and I'm going to tell you all the things. And then guess what happens? Like the vendors that they have that are good, like the groups just start closing down, and they get closed down, you know? So you have to like, I think, consider that when you go into this, right? And I mean, it's to be clear. I want to be clear. The only reason people are doing this is because they have been driven to it. Like that's it, you know, like this, we continue to look at this as weight loss, and that's a problem. This is sick people that need medicine, period. Like that's what this is. So ultimately people are only going to this extreme because their lives are now, and they don't have time to wait for things to be $100 a month, $20 a month. They don't have it. It's not an option. So to them, it feels dire. And to them, when you have this amount of weight on you, and it's not about weight, that weight is just a symptom of the underlying dysfunction of the disease, right? So your joints, your brain fog, like, I mean, everything is out of whack, your mental health, you're also in pain, like in physical pain and mental pain all the time. It's not just the food noise, it's torture. The food noise, again, just a symptom, right? So it's torturous to us. And so once we've had the medicine, then all of us are thinking, I can't go back. I can't go back. And it's not because we can't go back to being fat. It's not it. So we can't go back to being sick. It's literally like someone being like, here's your cancer treatment, right? That was, let's just say it's a long time cancer, like one of the ones that goes for years and years and years, right? Here it is. We're going to get it in remission. It's in a good remission place. And here you are on it. Oh, right? But you're starting to feel better, and then it's just gone. And so it's like, ultimately at the end of the day, what are you supposed to do? And that's what drives people to make these very drastic and oftentimes safe decisions. Even people that have trusted vendors like Sherry, right? Even they will say, I don't want anybody to do this. I don't want anybody to have to do this. They all want you to get your medicine where you can. If you can afford compound, they want you to do that. If you can find a way, right? They would much rather you do that. Now, there are some people that I will tell you have said they love the gray, and it's all the way, because they'll say, I mean, it's like a common, have you heard that? Like a lot of people in the gray market will be like, gray all the way, like gray is the way. Like that's kind of like a lot of them will say. But there are some people that I have met that are proud of it. They're like, no, like I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it. I think it's the way to go. It's affordable. It's as safe as it can get. And there are people that feel that way about it. And I have people that have been willing to come on the show publicly and say that. So I think it's important to show all perspectives, like as we go through this, but just know like those are some things, and we're going to go through some more stuff. Go ahead, Kat.
Yeah. All right.
No, it's cool.
So you touched on this too. What's the state of the gray market now in terms of government crackdowns? I know you mentioned customs and things of that nature, but what's the state of it now? And speaking of, like, are authorities getting more aggressive with it as well?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's also because it's because again, like pressure and demand, and it's a kind of just exploding right now, you know. Yeah. So we have seen, and I will put in the comments, we have seen FDA respond with some language. I'm going to include it because it's educational, so I'm showing all perspectives. Okay, so I want everybody to take the time to read through that. But yeah, I mean, and it's just going to get worse. And I think I will tell you, Dr. Toomer's been on our show before, and she didn't used to like compound, and she worked really hard to find a compound pharmacy she felt really good about. And she talks about it very openly on our show. And she said, and then I realized that, and she goes, but what the problem is now somebody's going to have to die.
That's how I feel.
That's where we're at. Right. And I think that she makes a good point. For anything to change, it is a risk, like things being laced. I hate to say this, but is a risk. It is a risk, friends. You have to be aware of that. Okay. These are not, and it is not, I hate to say this, but I feel like before it wasn't as big, right? Because before it was like, people say all the time, like, oh, gym bros, right? Gym bros have been doing peptides forever, right? Yeah. Gym bros have been buying gray and research grade forever. Oh no. Hold on, Instagram was disconnected from the stream. They currently disconnected the stream after 1 hour for most users, if you want.
Okay, so it was just a matter of time.
Okay, usually they let us go.
Because when I saw that red, I was like,
me too. I thought they took us down. Good Lord, we're not doing anything. I swear, okay. Like you can't even talk about things that are problem anymore in this country. What the fuck?
You gotta be careful.
I know. All right, we have some comments. Let's do some community comments.
Let's do comments.
All right, so we've got Monica. I have now ordered a few vials from US-based peptide companies who post their COAs, and so far, so good. I haven't yet gone true gray. I get that. Yeah, the gray community does consider like that true gray is overseas for sure. So I think that's just something to think about. And I would say like what I have found from my friends that do research grade, it's not that big of a difference from compound in price. Do you find that to be true, Monica? I would love to know your perspective. Kristen, I agree with you. And Monica, yes, you plan to buy from the US peptide company. I don't feel comfortable with filling. Yeah. And I will tell you, Kristen, what I've heard from many is that ultimately most people that are from, and this maybe, and I've heard two different things. So I'm willing to listen for my people that are here. Okay. My great people that are here. Two things. One, sometimes they're not getting the API from China, these research grade peptides, and sometimes they are. So I hear most of the time they are, but again, because this is a gray area, right? We don't necessarily really know. Have you heard anything specific around that, Amanda, from people you've interviewed?
I believe, from what I understand, it all comes from China, regardless of whether it's in the US or not. It all comes from China. But you can get peptides in the US. They do come from China, though.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like I had heard sometimes that there are labs here. There are labs here.
I've only heard of them getting it from China, though, and then testing it here or mixing it here, even as a compound pharmacy. Yeah. As far as I'm aware, it's all from China, the powdered form.
Yeah. Oh, triggers here.
Oh, and I think we figured out what the problem was with the stream getting cut on Instagram.
Yeah.
It was the D
I looked
word.
on Instagram and there was no errors or anything.
It's the D word.
The D word?
You were talking about the harming.
What?
Somebody was going
to the harming.
Unalive. You said unalive.
Yeah.
Oh.
You said the D word.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Can't say that.
I think so.
Yeah, it was Dr. Toomer.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It is a little less than compound. Yeah. So not even significantly different, but enough that people are willing to do it. And do you feel like that because like how much less? Like, is like $100 less? Is it $50 less? Because I'm wondering, like, is
I
every
think it
penny
really
count?
depends on where it's purchased from because people can get kits here for very low prices. But again, vendors are not always reputable. You don't always know what you're getting.
True.
And just because it's in the United States doesn't mean that it has truly been vetted and tested and that the test certificate that you're seeing is real, right?
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, and there's not necessarily like, if you think about it, like proof and evidence, right? That the certificate that you're seeing and the thing that you get is actually the thing that you
Because
get.
it's completely unregulated.
Yes.
Whereas
So you have to know
compound
that
pharmacies were state regulated.
Yes. Right.
Well, 503As at least.
Yeah. So that's just like something to think about. Here we go. The peptide companies, I think, get it from China. Yeah. But then they run the COAs. I have found them for $150 and $250 a month from supposedly reputable peptide companies as rated by users. Interesting. Is it rated by users on their website, or are you seeing it like in groups that you're a part of? I'm curious about that. So a lot of times what people do is when they're searching for this, they do go to other apps. I'm not going to say which ones because I promised. Okay. But they go to other apps. And there are so many people that are like, please DM me and tell me and stuff like that in my comments. I'm like, I am not doing that. But most people won't. Like, I mean, if they may have private conversations with people, but ultimately, like, it's because of these things I'm telling you. The risk is great. It is great. But then I think people think all the time, like, what is the risk of having obesity, knowing that I'm going to have type 2 beta diabetes, knowing that I'm going to have a heart attack, like knowing that, can I say that on Instagram? Sorry, knowing that I'm going to have.
I would like to bring up depression.
Yes.
Depression is strong enough to sometimes make people do the D, right?
The D. Yeah.
It is to do the D.
I want to interject and ask, just while we're on, and when people may not know fully what we're talking about, what is COA?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, let me get I have the definition, don't I? Which number is it on?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. It's certificate of authenticity, I think, right?
That's it. Isn't it? Because I remember like from the last live week.
And like there are, so like Sherry specifically told me that from like a COA perspective, like when she started, she was like, we got screwed a lot. Like it was new, like they were getting screwed over constantly. And now at the point where they actually have agreements and in place with vendors that they feel like they can trust that will do the testing and pay for the testing when they order in batch, right? But there are many groups that are new and they have none of that, but they earned all that, right? By figuring out and getting screwed over and all of those different things, right? And everything, like they've gotten to where things are controlled in terms of how it gets to them. And it's very, but it's more streamlined. There's one thing I will say I was impressed in terms of like gray market is like how well, and this is just typical for people with obesity, like how well they organized, right? To try to get something that was as safe as possible, right? And I think that's important. I cannot believe that Instagram took me off for saying
certificate of analysis.
Great. Did Angie say that?
No, it was someone in my TikTok comments.
Monica Rogers, yes, your certificate of analysis.
Parrott. Thank you, Karen.
TikTok comment. Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Almost none of them get the APOs from us. I think APIs, yeah.
And APIs, okay.
They get raw materials from China and finish it here with. Oh, there we go. That's the puck. See, process.
Lipholization.
Tune process.
Lipholization.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Those are called finishers. Oh, I need
sounds sexual.
Don't say that on the internet. You can only say that on the dark web, apparently. I'm a professional buyer. Buyer now just takes research. What do you mean, professional buyer? What's that? Tell us more.
I think that means when you help other people buy.
Okay. I don't know.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Is that the same thing as people that manage the groups? Is that the same thing? Also, keep in mind, friends, it's a pretty popular podcast, and I am pinning your comments and your names. So if you don't want that, change your names because it's going to
change your
yeah. Well, everybody needs to know. Everybody's gonna make their own choices, So, I think we covered that one. So that in terms of that certificate, like grain of salt. Like people think because it says certificate, like I think in our minds we think, okay, like that's better, and like ultimately, but not. So like when people do like group buys and they have the COA, there are ways like, by the way, like when it comes to you, this is something to note, like from future, because of all the changes, I think with compounding.
Yeah.
I think when you get from a peptide, like here, like it's going to say GLP-1 or GLP-2 or GLP-3. And that's based on the agonist that's in it. Right. So like, so GLP-1 would be, Sema, right? GLP-2 would be Tirzepatide, and then GLP-3 would be Retta, right? So that's what they're, I guess, in terms of like branding to try to, so you know what it is, but whatever. And then in terms of gray, there's nothing. But the people who have vendors that they trust, there is sort of like a labeling and coloring system based on the tops of them so that you can kind of know what it is. But it's not something I super understand, but I do know that that's a thing. That being said, I think that there's a tremendous amount of like trust that people, so specifically Sherry, has had, right, with this. So Sherry goes on to tell us more about how, this has changed her life. And then her daughter is in her 20s, struggles with infertility and obesity and PCOS, can't even come close to being able to afford this. And her daughter, because she's done all this due diligence within her group, she was able to help, right, her daughter do this, right? So there are a lot of people that have created relationships that they do trust, but keep in mind, this is still... And this is the thing we need to see too, is that the people who've been doing this for a long time have started to close their groups because there are a lot of new people that come in, right? And these new people don't know about dosing. They don't know about side effects. There is no clinician looking after them, right? And so when that happens, it's the same way that it is here, guys. When our doctors would just prescribe us this thing and they wouldn't tell us how to manage it, and we would end up on TikTok talking to people like me, So it's the same thing, right? But for them, that's huge visibility, right, on this. And this is the one thing that they can afford, the one thing they feel like is as safe as possible, one thing that they've vetted, right, to the point where they feel like they would, for example, trust to put their child on it. Like I say child, but well into adulthood, right? But I mean, like daughter. Yeah. So just like, I think about that, like these are all things to consider. So I do want to make sure we go through the red flags and stuff. I don't know if we're there yet. Let me see.
I think we should also talk about legality.
Do you think we should? Because when I asked our friend that is in legal, he said to say that we don't know. He said that we are not, to say that we are not attorneys and we cannot speak on legality.
You know what? That's fair. Let's do you want to talk about
what our
down?
I gave him
choosing
an emoji retainer. That is what we were told. So to be careful. But I would tell you, if all of this is going on, that should give you signs to look into it further and understand the legalities. Right? Because there is content out there to dig into the legalities, whether it's for you individually as the buyer or for the sellers or for anybody that's helping you in between. So you should go and figure out if that is on the up and up legally. Okay. I think that's the best we can do.
I will say it's very difficult to find out. Yeah.
And then I have that one that you sent me that I'm going to put in the comment, right? That you sent me about the FDA on this. So for a resource,
And that was not recent. That wasn't super recent. I haven't looked very recently to see if there were any more. I guess I should.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. You can look at the COA up to verify that it matches what the peptide company sent in. However, there is still no validation that you are getting the actual vial exactly, that you're getting it from the same batch, right? And also they're only testing a vial from the batch, right? Because someone kind of like, so if you're with like Sherry's buyer, then they have a relationship with the vendor that the vendor will pay for the testing, right? If you don't have a relationship like that, if that group buy is not there, then there are people that will actually they'll buy it together, and then somebody will take the vial and they will kind of sacrifice that vial, if you will, and pay to get that tested. And it's part of the thing altogether, right? And then when it comes back in a way, then they divvy up accordingly. Does that sound right? All my great peeps, keep me honest. Okay. The finish, the accumulation products in the US, I think she meant they, right? In the US, and they claim that the peptides are US sourced. Oh, I see. What do you mean they finish like they constitute? Is that what it means? Here we go.
Good question.
They finish the raw China API here. Okay. In the I think she meant US, and then claim the finished peptides are US sourced. Okay.
You see
So
BTW on there? Yeah. Connecticut AG is already investigating. So I'm assuming you say Attorney General.
Is that what you mean, BTW? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that this will continue because this is also pressure, right? Like this will start to bubble up and continue to become, I mean, for anything to come through bipartisan, there's got to be a lot going on, right? Like I think of these days.
Yeah, BTW said yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I will say I've heard more than one story, but I heard one recently of a person who took way too much accidentally, that they mixed it themselves.
Yeah.
They really overdosed and they ended up in the hospital very, very sick. And it is life-threatening if you overdose on anything, even water, but this medication for sure. And they were on social media talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of publicity does get attention that these groups don't want.
Yeah.
And
did this person admit that it was gray? Is that where this person
on social media?
On social media. Yeah.
Yeah. And most people don't admit that when they're in the hospital. So Compound gets blamed for it. And that's where I'm like thinking about the D word you'd mentioned earlier.
Yes. Yeah. On live. That's what we say on TikTok, on a live.
I think if something like that does happen, it will be learned through social media.
Yeah.
Before
and then
admits it in the hospital.
And that's usually what happens, right? Is it happens on social media and then the press picks it up and then everybody else finds out about it. And even then, it's rarely ever one story. Like people, it has to happen like so many, and we've seen so many times before it's like, oh, this is a problem and a trend. We should do something about it. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me see. I want to make sure.
We talk about the crackdown, why many people are choosing gray market, where I think we kind of discussed that gray market.
Green flags versus red flags. Okay. Yeah. Green flags. Vendors with word of mouth, credibility, and trusted communities. I mentioned that you can, sometimes they have forums where it's listed like vendors they come across and when there's an issue, right? So you can like sort of like check there, right? That doesn't mean there won't be for you if there, or there will be for you, but like it's just something to know. And they're trying to keep that updated. A clear middleman or moderator or group buys to ensure that there's accountability. Again, like with the COA, so someone that mentioned that they were a buyer, like I think maybe that's an example. We'd love to understand more. From reputable labs that match the actual product. So again, like I think that's more with when you get the domestic, right? Because from what I understand from like when you're doing with the group buys, there's no labeling. You just kind of like everybody, I think, sort of talks and they know like the color system and things like that. And then like the top of the vial, like the color. So they know that it matches basically. That's what I understand. But gray market friends, keep me honest. Vendors who cold message you, I mentioned that earlier, or approach you through social media at all in DMs. Like if somebody's just like sending you something you haven't asked for, or even if you're like in a comment and someone's gone into a comment and be like, come over here. And they have like no followers and they're, you know what I mean? They've got pictures of the meds and stuff like that. Like this red flag. No visible organizer, again, for the group buy, right? Or the process feels very disorganized. That's not something you want. You want it to feel like organized, right? Influencer-led hype without proper education, warnings, or disclaimers. So another example, like if I just came on here and I was like, hey, do this, it's fine because I do, like, or something like that, like it's a red flag. Like, just it's something to really think about, because for all these reasons we're talking about, these are serious things to consider and serious risks to consider. Okay. If the vendor is aggressively chasing you for sales,
Wow.
it's definitely a sign of untrustworthy.
This lack of transparency is a major concern.
Sorry. There I go. Sorry, hit a button. So I think that's I know, right? It's my speak it when I have to read tons of content. So and exactly what you said. This lack of transparency is a major concern. So think about all those things because they're important. What else do we do? Get everything, Kat? What else we have?
I think so. It's like, so what should listeners do next? How can they stay informed, and how can we continue this conversation?
Yeah. I think so. We're going to have on Dr. Mo, who's been on our podcast before. She is an obesity specialist. It's really hard to get doctors to talk about this. I'm not going to lie. She's an obesity specialist, and she also was, I can't remember like the other specialty, but she worked in the ER for a long time. So she has seen people come through and taking things like peptides and these meds and seen things. She's like, I will not condone it, but I will talk about what I've seen and what I think. And so I think having that perspective is important.
It is.
Yeah, I think that's important too. Like in terms of Retta, so specifically about Retta, keep in mind, like that one isn't set to finish studies until next year.
Yeah.
So know that if, especially if you have anything like heart conditions or anything like that, which a lot of people with obesity do, right? That if you take it at your own like risk. I mean, all of this is take at your own risk, right? Like, but just like keep that in mind. And there are plenty of people, like I'm very interested in peptides and other kinds of peptides and what they can do. And I just think that when you're scared and when you're desperate and when you're like, I can't go back, and you're in this place of emotional turmoil, it's very difficult to make a sound, like logical decision. It's very difficult. So I was like, well, if we can give them as much information as possible, information from a doctor and all of those different things, then at least they have it, right? And they know what to look out for, All right.
I think we should also mention sterility.
Yes, we should.
I have heard of one person.
What are the dangers? Yeah.
They had necrotized skin from injecting unclean medicines or compounds. I don't know. We don't know what was in it, but that did happen. That can happen. And I've heard of people trying to filter the peptides themselves using a needle that has a filter when they mix the compound with backwater. And that process can also contaminate. And so there are some people that say you have to filter it to make sure that you get any impurities out of it. Hearing that alone is terrifying for me, that you would have to filter it yourself for impurities. But there is a catch. If you're not extremely careful, and you have to think about even the quality of your air.
Yeah.
If you're not extremely careful and everything is sterile, like as if you're in a doctor's facility, like a hospital, where everything is wiped down with alcohol, it could be very dangerous, and you could end up contaminating your own medication and infecting yourself.
And there are compound pharmacies, 503A, and there are also research-grade peptides and grain, all the things that sometimes will give you like a month's supply in one vial. But there's this thing that Sherry told me about called the 28-day rule, right? And ultimately, like you're not supposed to do that. Like it's like within 28 days is like when you sort of start opening up to contamination. So like if you're ordering it from, and this is like, I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you what I learned, right? You guys know that. But like, if you're getting your medicine and you're like, oh, that's enough for 3 months, which of course people think, which is crazy that we have to do that. But it's the same kind of shit people went through with insulin, right?
Yes.
It's the same, and ultimately like it does, like that it opens up that window, right? So but I'm telling you, I know that there are telehealths that will send you. I've gotten something from a telehealth before that was for a 2-month supply. Same vial, but I didn't know this.
I've seen people get it for a year,
Yeah.
a year's supply. And I wondered the same thing. How,
Yeah.
not just sterile, but how effective is it after
after
a year?
Yeah.
And the reason why it would be no longer sterile is because the backwater that they mix it with is supposed to keep it stable and sterile. And that is only supposed to be good for like 28 days after opening it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that's something to think about, especially like once you mix it. From what they told me, that's when the clock starts in terms of it being like effective, right? I don't know what it is that the drug manufacturers put in it for it. I guess technically it's mixed, right? But because you can see the fluid in there. No, it isn't. So when you look at that pen, like an MJ pen, the liquid, you can see the liquid moving around with the bulb. And then when you hit the thing, is it combining when it's happening?
No, I think it's already.
It would be too fast
together.
If you like shot it, you would have to wait for it to mix.
Yeah. So it's already mixed then. So it's already mixed. There's an air bubble in there. So there's something with the pen and the mechanism, right? That's like allowing it to do that,
Yeah, I'm not sure. That is
Not
interesting
either.
though.
I know.
And I want to say,
I hate that we're even having to discuss this and like drill it down and like see if it's a thing. Like that's the sad part about all of this, Like
I want to mention,
Go ahead.
Because of the gray market and research peptides booming, there has been a lot of attention on social media and in other places where I believe that there's supposed to be a restriction soon on backwater, where you have to have like a license in order to be able to purchase it. And this is because of people purchasing backwater for these medications specifically, where it was never a problem before, but there's been so much attention on it now that they are restricting access to backwater. And if you don't have backwater, you can't really mix the medication yourself. And some people are talking about making their own backwater.
That's exactly what's going to happen next.
I would not do that. I would not do that. That sounds so dangerous. But people are very desperate. Yeah.
Okay. I see there's a lot of comments.
Yes. Let's go ahead.
Don't forget to hit the like button. Absolutely.
Yes. Please hit the like button if you're watching. We need it. That's what helps push us out to help more people. That's what we need.
I see what Kelly Stevens Comstock. Okay. Yeah.
Someone took my content and was trying to sell peptides on TikTok.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. They were posting and direct messaging people. So scary. I reported on tech many times, but they would not take it down. Isn't that interesting?
But they'll, violate and ban.
But we can't say the D word. You know what I mean? I'm sorry that happened to you, Dr. Will. The people that don't understand the difference between MG and MG.
I think they're ML.
Oh, yeah, I think you meant ML, right? MG and ML. Yes, a proper dosage should make sure that they research that before attempting anything. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are people that are using AI as tools to try to understand, I think, dosing better. But like ultimately, it's for sure. There we go. BTW changed it. That's for sure something to think about. Like you have to understand. And the thing is too, I think it's really confusing too when you see 2.5 and 0.25, right? People are like, oh, like that's a big difference in these treatments, right? So 2.5 is for MJ or TERS, right? And then 0.25, right, is for Sema. So this is very different. Those are the first doses for both of them. So obviously, if you take 2.5 of Sema when the highest it goes up to is 2.4, like you have to think about that. Like that's how much you're doing all at once without titrating up, right? So that's you've got to know the difference and make sure that you've researched that too. Yeah. A lot of times in group buys, it's not just color of the cap. Okay. The batch will have a specific batch number, unique, to that buy on the package to cross-reference. That's good. And then so it's cross-reference on the box or cross-reference to the vial itself. I'm curious of that too. Is Dr. A on it? Who's Dr. A?
Are you seeing all I can think of is Dr. Angelina. But you know what? We're not touching that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I doubt it. She doesn't even want you to go to.
So.
She doesn't even want you to go to Mexico for surgery. So I don't think so. But the pens have preservatives. Kelly says, okay, I use other pen injection meds, and my doctor told me that there are preservatives in it. Interesting, and these don't. I wonder if that's one of the other reasons that pens are so expensive to make. I don't know.
Filtering is scary. It's a scary concept for sure.
Yeah. I don't even really understand filtering. Like, is it the whole idea of to shake it or using the pen to do it? I don't even know.
No, there's a filter. There's an actual filter in the needle. You use a larger needle to reconstitute, and there's this filter in the needle, and it's supposed to take out impurities. But the idea that you even get it with impurities in it terrifies me. Right.
Yeah.
And then when you're going through the whole process of like picking it up and touching it and changing needles and moving all of the stuff around, if you don't have gloves and everything is not drenched in alcohol, like to cleanse the area, it's just really dangerous to inject yourself with.
Yeah. And I think like that's one thing too, is probably why, like, I think there's like an upcharge, like with, people here that are mixing it for you, or whether like it's the compound pharmacies and stuff, is because they are ultimately like taking the accountability and responsibility for the safety. Right. But the ones that are, I think that's what's hard right now, is it's like when people ask me, where can I go compound? Like, I don't even have an answer. I don't know. Because every time I turn around, there's more stuff. And I don't even feel comfortable saying anything about it.
You know, Parrot had made a good point where the 28-day rule is an FDA rule. The preservatives are not proven. That makes me think of, we know there are a lot of people that do this in the community as well. We have stockpiles of boxes.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm wondering.
Yeah. I mean, I did see this girl on TikTok made a video, and she was like, I have enough Tirzepatide to last me till like the apocalypse. Like, she was like, I don't need any more, but I keep ordering it. Like, she keeps becoming part of it and I was like, I'm telling you, it's because we're all freaking terrified they're going to take it away.
Yeah. But I wonder if, what Parrot Head's saying, we may be risking that as well.
Absolutely. It's a red flag for sure. Like, so when people are sending you tons and it's not broken up into vials that you use for 28 days and that's it, like, it is considered a best practice, right?
So I interviewed with some reps from Medivant who said that they were asked to create a injectable that was one-time use, that was pre-dosed in a glass syringe, and that it was sterile. So the medication went from point A into syringe, done, and was not exposed, and then did not have that 28-day best by date until it was open. But since it was one-time use, you could store it for a long time, which I think is what Parrot Head is talking about, and why the Lilly pens and Novo pens can be stored, because it's one-time use, right? You don't open the pen up, and I've never used one, but
it's one-time use.
One-time use only.
So there must be a way that they get the medication in there without exposing it to like air and stuff.
Yeah.
They mix it inside of that, and then it's not open.
Yeah. Which is
right, because backwater, it doesn't go bad until you open it.
Until you open it. Yeah.
Right.
And I think what'll happen is people like make their own backwater, or they'll use regular water. Dear God.
Don't do that.
I know.
Don't do that.
Any doctor will tell you that, like, if you're doing anything else, like not even just for injections, but like if you're doing like a nasal rinse, you have to use distilled water.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Don't
do that. Yeah. Our water is not anywhere near as clean as people think it is. The pen is a one-time use mechanism. So the opportunity to contaminate it is not there unless you open the pen trying to divvy up the doses, like you were saying. Right? Very different than the multi-use vials. Interesting. Okay. All right. So it's, and then our another great friend, most great vendors supply back water. Okay. With your order, but people prefer to order medical grade back water instead. Interesting.
I mean, that's fair, right?
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Like some people may offer it and some people won't. Yeah. So like, that's something to think about too. And maybe not even necessarily like a red flag, but like, no, if you're wanting to do like medical grade. I did have a breakdown of what's medical grade, pharmaceutical grade in there somewhere. I wanted to, and I think it would be really good. I did have someone reach out on one of my videos and say that they were a PharmD and that they would come on and talk about it and answer all these questions too, which I think is really interesting, you know?
Yeah.
My brother works in sterile supply. Okay. The procedures to make sure medical equipment is safe is unbelievable. He told me, short of that process, there's always a possibility of contamination. Yeah. Like you just got to think about it. Like this is not, like that is why people, including Sherry, right, says, again, anonymous friend, says, Sherry,
right?
Sherry says, last resort. It's a last resort. It really is. Like the problem is there's probably millions and millions of people at the last resort stage.
There are 19 million people without insurance coverage for GLP-1s for weight loss.
19
So
million.
out of that 19 million, there's a lot of them that are going to the gray market.
Yeah.
Because they're desperate and looking for answers.
Yeah. I think it's important, like, if you're in gray, like, and I may send you some people I know that are openly talking about it and like, or would be fine, like for conversations that you have, because I think we do need to be part of it. Like you said,
Agreed.
And I think it's really important, those perspectives. It really is. All right. Let me go through, y'all talk amongst yourselves. I want to go make sure I find the definition so that we have that. And I'll also put it in let me see. Okay. I do have risk and red flags. Lack of regulation. We talked about that.
Yeah,
counterfeits. So like that's all right. There's a lot more. Let me go through these. All right. Lack of regulation. So the biggest risk with the gray is the lack of regulation, right? There is no governing bodies to ensure that the meds meet safety standards or are properly manufactured. This means that there's no guarantee that the product that you receive and that you think it is, right? Like we were just saying, isn't contaminated or expired or mislabeled. So you don't know. I actually saw somebody that literally had a piece of paper wrapped around their vial that said TERS or Retta or something like that. So just it is like significantly different. You have to understand that. Counterfeit. So let's talk about that. So a major concern is counterfeit, which can have harmful side effects or worse, be entirely ineffective at all. Like that happens. We have people say that, right? I got it and it's like I took nothing, right? We've heard people say that from 503A. Yeah. Many gray products, especially from unverified sources, are not the real medication that they claim. Again, that's going back to like the scams, right? There's plenty of people that are looking to take advantage of you. Plenty. And we'll see more and more pop up now. It's already happening according to all my sources that are in gray. Incorrect dosing, we've talked about that, and mislabeling and the risk of that. Unclean and or improper storage, we've talked about that. Again, no oversight or handling with shipping. So like, this is like, keep in mind, this is happening, right? And then they're sending it out and then it's going through whatever to get to you from across the world.
You're right.
So no idea what it's going to
somehow.
It could be exposed to heat,
right?
Like humidity, sunlight can be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like depending on, I guess, what peptide it is. I don't know specifically for TERS, but I don't think it's supposed to be in like warm or hot temperatures.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No
I think
idea.
that's one thing that I've heard from the doctors before is like, we would say like, we would call it salt forms, but that goes back to like the big L word that I'm not going to try to say, right. But that where they call like the puck, right? Like the freeze dried bed of it. And so like the reason that is because like there is no expiration situation because the water's not been added, right? So there are people that the reason they buy it for years and years at a time is because they know that they don't have to, it doesn't sort of count until they reconstitute it in theory, if it's okay. Like if nothing has happened. I mean, you never know. It's 6 months from now when they go to do it if something hasn't happened, right? So that's what I have for that one. And then frauds and scams, we talked about that. So buyers are often targeted by these scammers and they're promising really cheap, like what is too cheap? That would be if any of my gray people are still here, like what equals too cheap? Like, let us know what people go, like that would be such a good red flag to like recognize,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cheap is too cheap?
Yes, lots of people sell fake things. I mean, I know they've seen. I remember they arrested, like, I think it was like a year ago, maybe less than, a woman that was literally mixing them up at her house and sending them out. And then when they tested them,
it was a med spa she was working out of. Remember?
Yeah, is that what it was? I thought she was doing it out of her home. Yeah.
Her med spa might have been out of her home.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think she was an online retailer or online retailer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Legal risk, again, can't go into that because I'm not an attorney, but I'll put some resources in the chat for you to understand and as best as I can. Okay. I know it is scary. It's something we've really got to think about, Chris, right? Yeah. The gray community is already giving instructions for how to make your own. Oh my, of course they are.
That's wild. I mean,
it doesn't shock me. Like, I mean, right? Because they're, see?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is really scary.
I know. Yeah. Can anyone speak on the process for the U.S. warehouses? Yeah. It seems like availability of pre-shipped U.S. stock has increased over. I can't speak to it. However, Clay, there may be someone in here that can, and I will allow them to take the floor if they want it. Okay. But I cannot speak to that. And thank you for asking.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I will say, someone sent me the video of the woman who overdosed on her GLP-1, and they're saying it was prescribed by a doctor, not gray. So I wonder if it was being discussed.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will say that I have seen at least 2 cases of someone who did overdose and mixed it themselves. And I do know of those 2 cases, but they weren't on social media.
Okay.
And apparently the one that was prescribed by a doctor and not gray, to set the record straight.
There was a story of
the right thing to do. Did they?
A woman in Australia, God, it was like 2 years ago. Remember, Kim? She did not make it because she was going to 2 different outlets. I don't know if it was a doctor.
That's right. She was taking 2 different GLP-1s on her own.
She was taking MJ and Ozempic.
No, I think it was liraglutide, the daily, and like swapping them in and out.
She was taking 2 simultaneous GLP-1s at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, so one of my great friends in the comment says that to Clay's comment that those are what they call 0 PEP vials. Okay, I don't. But if my friend in the comment wants to explain that, feel free to. If I see somebody's like full name, I'm probably not going to pin it because I don't know if they want to do this. Because it is on video and it does go on the audio, and the audience pretty large. I think we had like 13,000 downloads this month. So it's a lot. So I feel like we covered almost things. I really wanted to make sure I covered those risks and those red flags because I think that's really important. I think I did all of that.
Really aggressive sales tactics, shipping issues. We did, the promises of guaranteed results. Yeah, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, Kat sent me a Facebook ad. Tell us about that Facebook ad, Kat. She texted me out of nowhere. Oh yeah, show it to us.
They pop up on my Facebook, and I'm like, "This is interesting." It was like 5 weeks lose.
Vendors. Yeah, you just request U.S. warehouse when you order in a week, and it's delivered. So it goes to a warehouse, and then that is when Clay. That's when you're saying like the middleman gets involved, right? And then they send it to the people who group bought. Is that what you're saying? Because I feel like I have heard that before.
Okay, it was called the Skinny Shop program. 9 weeks, have a flat stomach.
Yeah, 9 weeks.
I'm not going to put anything else on blast, even though it's on Facebook. And
it's local, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like it was like this woman, and then she was like, "I never had a flat stomach, or used to have a flat stomach, and then I didn't. Now I'm gonna." It says like rapid weight loss, doesn't it? It's like rapid, yeah. I was like,
rapid weight loss program.
How are they able to get away with this? I thought Meta was cracking down. I mean, I can't even
hormones hold you back.
I can't even say the D word on IG. Like, what planet? Also, I thought Meta was supposed to be loosening. Like that was everything was the news, right? Is that they were reducing moderation and all this other garbage.
Remember, Kim, I made that post about metformin being silly, and they took it down.
Yes. They did, and I got
well.
I got a V for it because I was a collaborator,
and
I was like, "This is ridiculous!" Like all you were doing was talking about an article, and then how it made you poop. Like
and
AI
it
is
wasn't
way
trying
more
to get,
this stupid. Like I just can't. Like it feels like we're in this massive social experiment. That's awful.
And then I got another V for like a video. It was like a vice versa. You were a collaborator on mine. I was a collaborator on yours, and I got
You got
two
one for
Vs.
me. Yeah. Did you appeal?
I think it
It's
did.
the same thing happened for me and Amanda, and we both appealed and we won. But I did not win the one from Kat, which was about metformin.
Weird.
I know.
Very weird.
All it was is, apparently metformin has been known to help with like
It was a study.
Cancer. It was a study.
It
They don't
may
like
potentially be able to show signs of preventing colon cancer. And I was like, so let me go try it. And next thing I know, I was pooping, like, because that's what metformin does.
I'm putting it on the YouTube. We're doing
it. You should.
Yeah.
I want to make a note that there is reconstitution liquid that you can buy. And people, I think, can sometimes confuse that with backwater when they're very new. And it is not sterile like backwater. It's to my knowledge, someone correct me if I'm wrong, it's a one-time use liquid. So I believe that if you use it, if you open it, you have to use it then and there.
Yeah.
Where you could not store it like backwater.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned that with people losing access to backwater, that they might try using reconstitution liquid. Yeah. Because it says it in the name, right? Reconstitution. It'd be very easy to confuse.
Absolutely. I wonder if any of our great friends are seeing that in the community. I would love to know if you've seen that.
I haven't seen it. I just have learned about it, and I'm like, that sounds confusing.
Yeah. Cheap is questionable these days. The vendors are competing so bad for business right now that you can get a kit of Tirzepatide 10 mgs for $85. A kit. So how many weeks is that? Competition is driving down prices right now. Wow. Clay says not a group buy. Regular purchase from the vendor. Okay. Comes in, same boxes, same wrap from a random state. Jano test good. Okay, that's, we need to be careful with that, but that's cool. But you abbreviated. I guess they are bulk shipping past customs. Maybe. I don't know. I can't speak to it intelligently. The vendors are shipping to a trusted reshipper in a U.S. warehouse. Okay. And those reshippers fill the orders. That's basically it. Okay. Thank you, Clay.
And I will also say I've seen a couple instances where someone ordered it to their house from China and it was seized. And I think one of them received a letter saying something about trying to get illegal medications.
Yeah.
And those are not the words. I can't remember how to say it. It was counterfeit. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up. Mm-hmm. But they basically sent a letter saying it was a no-no.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look into that one more.
Ones that look like they are like they're like, I'm just gonna say puck because clearly I'm struggling. So it appears to be legitimate product, but there's no peptide in it. Okay. Thank you. All right. I think it's good. Any of my gray friends, is there anything that we missed that we want to include today?
Letters on seizures.
There we go. They are sending letters on seizures. Okay. If you have history with vendor guarantee free reship on seizures. Wow. So that's something that a relationship with the vendor from like a group buy or like a relationship with the vendor, like you've just bought with them before and they know, like, I think that's, I remember the one person that I interviewed saying specifically like that, that it already left my brain. It's late and I have ADHD. It'll come to me later. This is just classic me. I'm getting pooped. Yes, I've seen some videos. Okay. That if you get seized, they'll put a list. They'll put on a list. Okay. And customs can deny any shipments to that address.
Wow.
It's supposed to go to. Wow.
So the letter says, well, do you want me to just send it to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can share it.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for people to see, I think. Yeah. But like, I think that anybody that's wanting this to happen, anything that comes to you easily on this research journey, that's a red flag.
Agreed.
Okay? It shouldn't, it's all there. If you search, it's there. But just if it looks easy and clickable and let me sign up for this telehealth kind of thing, like it should not be like that. So you need to keep that in mind. Okay. I want to make sure you're safe. That's our goal for sure. Okay. Yes, I've seen. Okay. Answered that one. Okay. Repeat customer. Okay. Personal buy. Okay. Private circle buy. What's private circle buy? That's like people that you're close to, like you buy with all the time. If you don't respond to the letter, they just destroy the product. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow, Clay.
Did see one person who it was their very first time.
Sorry, 10 weeks for $85. That's what they're saying. 10 weeks for $85. That is some crazy shit. Go ahead, Amanda. What'd you say?
I was just saying that one of those seizure cases was a person's first time, like ever buying. Because I think that one of those comments said that it was repeat buyers.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was the one that I was actually talking about was a person's very first time that they ever purchased.
Yeah.
And they were like,
I think they were saying like if you're a repeat buyer from them, then they will resend you the product without charging you.
Oh, okay.
I think they were saying. I think keep me honest though, if that wasn't right, friends. Okay, so I think like, how do we move forward? So I'm going to tell you a few different things. Okay, we'll continue to cover this as best as we can. We'll cover, I really wanted to try to find the definitions between research grade, medical grade, so that you understood pharmaceutical grade. From what I read it, so I want to make sure. I think pharmaceutical grade is like you're getting the pen from Eli Lilly, for example, right? And then, research grade is when you're having to do it yourself, like and put it together, right? And you're getting it, where's that different medical grade? See, I got to find the definitions. It's important. I'm going to put it in the I'm going to put it in the show notes. I'm going to find it and put in the show notes because I know we're getting close to time. Okay. Just friends and family. Okay. Just ordered 600. Yes.
350 delivered.
Okay. Don't say the name. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. It can be more than 10 weeks. Okay. If each file is 38 mg. What? Oh my God. Are you kidding? That could easily be enough for someone for a year, depending on the dose. Wow. Wow. How do we get here?
I don't know how.
We contact our Congress.
Yes, that's right.
I know how we got here.
I know.
Oh, I thought you said, how do we get here? I'm like,
well,
how do we get past here? We contact our Congress.
Seizures can affect your
wow.
status.
Wow.
That's a risk you're taking on.
Yeah. So there's more to lose than with custom seizures than just losing your product or money. What is their REENT? What is the
BTW? Yes, big pharma greed is exactly how we got.
Does he mean reentry?
Maybe a reentry status. Oh, to the country,
or maybe reentry, or like
wow, that's so.
I think he means reentry.
Okay, let's re-go. Okay, so I want everybody to listen. This is important. Let's see another risk, right? So seizures can affect your global reentry. I read it wrong. Thank you. Status. So it's more than just losing to customers, like losing your product or losing your money. So like if you travel and you are flagged in this way, this could be issue for you to come back in the country. So like there's a lot to this. Agreed with Big Pharma, agreed. BTW, agreed. We got here because the shareholder interests are more important than human health interest.
100%.
That is exactly.
Which is why we do what we do.
That's why we do what we do. Exactly. It's why you're here supporting GLP-1 Collective, supporting plus sides, going in the community, talking about it, reaching out to us, letting us connect you with whoever, and you being able to talk to whoever, right. And raising your voice as much as possible. Like the only way for us to fight back and make this to where just everyone can afford it. The pharmaceutical grade, for God's sakes, like the only way to do that is just to get loud. And I've always said that from the beginning when I started this podcast. I was like, I want to get loud and change things, because I know that if you're quiet in the corner, nothing is going to happen. And I know it sounds kind of like curt when I say this, but like, I don't think that the majority of society gives a shit about fat people. These don't, and they certainly don't care about over 40 fat people, and they certainly don't care. I mean, like and they certainly care about women. Like it's just like in terms of like science and studying, and they don't so I think that like we have to stand up for ourselves, and not just once, again and again and again and again, every single day, and that's what we try to do here. I want you to know that I don't care how you get your medicine in terms of you being accepted and cared for here. Like we want to be able to bring you information from the doctors around all of these things so that you can understand what's going on with your body. And, depending on your medicine, or how your medicine is, that you just, or where you get your medicine from, that you just understand that like the science behind it. Right. And the science behind all of this, so that you can advocate for what you need and you do feel safe. Like I feel like if I hope people in Gray know about the podcast, right? Or know about other podcasts that doctors are doing, like Dr. Rentia is a really good example, right? Of a doctor that's doing it. I think there's many doctors that are obesity doctors that do the podcast. I think one of the issues, and this is not true for Dr. Rentia, but I think some of the issues with that is that people feel like they kind of talk over their heads, like with jargon and things like that, and they don't understand, and people want to be able to understand, So I think that's important.
And Dr. Ogle, she has a lot of content that's educational out there.
Yes.
And she's the most empathetic doctor I've ever met. Love her.
She's wonderful. And she's even here, like learning about this and trying to understand.
Cheers.
Yeah. Pharmaceutical grade has to be at least 99%. Oh, this is a good tip. 99% most research grade
exceeds
99%. Really? That's very interesting.
The research grade has a lower purity level standard.
Yeah.
Pharmaceuticals grades have to be at least 99%. Most research exceeds 99%. So are we?
Research grade has a lower purity.
Lower purity, but it's higher than 99%. Am I following that right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm not following either. Are you following, Amanda?
Research grade has to be 99% pure. I wonder if it's because I wonder if it changes at all once you mix it. Like it's not 100% if it's mixed, right? Because then you've got water in it. I don't know.
I don't know. Let's wait. We'll wait for it coming back, and then we'll close up shop. But I want to find grade, the pharmaceutical grade. Here we go. Okay, I found it. Okay, here we go. Important. There's okay. We talked about the two different types and grades. All right, I think we covered it. I need to make sure. I'm going to find the definition and make sure I put it in the show notes after the show, so you guys have it, so you know the difference between the grades.
I think. Thank you, Woodkirky. There's another one.
They both have the same API. Yeah. Yes, thank you. I agree with the harm reduction approach. Yeah. And I want to know what my patients are exposed to. And I think that like Dr. Ogle, you saying things about it too, like saying, this is what my patients are driven to, like, and standing up for us. Like if you come to DC or, just things like that, and be like, my patients shouldn't have to be here. I think that would be a lot than just like patients saying things. I think it's important, Most research and gray market purity levels are above 99. Okay. Most clients won't accept anything less than that. Interesting. Okay. Correct. Okay. All right, great.
All right.
Thanks.
We've gone quite a long time, friends. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will have more episodes coming. Our lives are every Thursday now because the downside, a lot of our patients or our friends or patients, a lot of, that's where I get when I think like a lot of our listeners were like, we have to compete. We can't come to your live and their live because it's exactly the same time, same day. So Dave doesn't do his live on Thursdays anymore. So we do ours every other Thursday. So we hope that you will like and subscribe and all the things here to help us continue our movement and to get loud and change things. Go and follow GLP-1 Collective. Go to the podcast and watch it. It's great. Okay. It's fantastic. And you can hear stories because I think that not feeling alone is a big part of this journey because like a lot of obesity is being alone, right? And isolated. So
it's very isolating.
Can I throw out just as a closing note?
Yes.
We have a support group on this coming Sunday.
Great.
So please, if you're from the Gray community, I imagine that outside of different apps, you're feeling pretty alone in your journey, and it's completely private. Whatever you say is just between the people in the group. And if you're not from the Gray community, you're still on it. You're all on GLP-1s, right? So we need each other. We need a community. Please join the support group.
I mean, ultimately, like we do all have, similar dysfunctions and diseases. Like we understand each other. I think pain and suffering more than other people, So I think having people around you that get that, it's a big deal, My first Gray vendor I found because the flower mentioned them. What is flower?
I don't know. Illegal documents as selling.
Oh. Fun fact indeed, Clay.
I like that. Very clever, Clay.
So if you're looking for community, like in terms of support group and stuff like GLP-1 Collective, it's glp1collective.com, isn't it?
Or .org.
Okay. So you can go there and then we will be back. Okay. We'll be back in 2 weeks and we will have that episode coming out with Dr. Mo soon. Okay. You're not alone. It's not your fault. And we're here for you.
Not at all.
All right. Have a great night, everybody. We love you. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.